The four Komitopuli brothers, David, Moses, Aaron, and Samuil, rose to prominence by leading a rebellion that eventually built an empire. Their uprising succeeded during a time of instability following the collapse of Bulgarian rule and the absence of Byzantine forces, which were preoccupied with campaigns in Syria. The rebellion allowed the brothers to establish a new state, which they initially decided to rule jointly. However, this arrangement was short-lived as three of the brothers, David, Moses, and Aaron, passed away one after another, leaving Samuil as the sole ruler of the new state. The Komitopuli are credited with organizing two significant uprisings, one in 969 and another in 976. These rebellions targeted different foes at different times. According to John Skylitzes, a Byzantine historian and one of the most reliable sources for this period, the first rebellion was against the Bulgarian rulers Boris and Roman, who were the sons of Emperor Petar. The second, larger rebellion directly opposed the Byzantine Empire, marking the Komitopuli as key figures in reshaping the political landscape of the region. To better understand their legacy, it is essential to explore the brothers' background and heritage. Byzantine sources describe their father, Nicola, as a prominent and influential figure in the Bulgarian court. Nicola was part of the boyars, a class of powerful dignitaries, and served Emperor Petar faithfully until his death. However, the origins of Nicola and his family have been a subject of ongoing debate among historians. Bulgarian historians argue that Nicola and his wife, Ripsimia, were of Bulgarian origin. Conversely, other historians suggest that the Komitopuli were members of the Bryaks tribe, a group of Macedonian royals. Another theory claims that Nicola's family descended from Persian colonists brought to Macedonia by Emperor Theophilos. However, the most widely supported theory identifies Nicola and Ripsimia as Armenians, based on several compelling arguments. The names of their children, David, Moses, Aaron, and Samuil, are significant in this debate. These names are commonly associated with the Armenian Church and remain in use there to this day. Ripsimia's name also has Armenian roots. In Armenian, it is rendered as Hripsaim, a name with religious and cultural significance. Armenian sources provide further insights, suggesting that Samuil and his brothers were born in the Derjan region of Armenia. They claim that the family was brought to Macedonia by Emperor Basil II, the Macedonian, to serve as part of a military regiment fighting against the Bulgarians. Interestingly, these sources also state that the brothers switched allegiance during their first battle, siding with the Bulgarians instead of the Byzantines. The Armenian tradition emphasizes that the biblical names of the brothers were often given to influential figures, such as patriarchs, priests, and philosophers, further highlighting their prominence. Despite the ongoing debate about their origins, the true significance of the Komitopuli lies in their achievements. They managed to seize power from both the Bulgarians and the Byzantines, establishing a state in the heart of Macedonia. Under Samuil's leadership, this state expanded into a powerful empire. By the end of the 10th century, Samuil had raised a formidable army, primarily composed of Macedonian soldiers, and conquered vast territories. These included the southern half of Bulgaria, as well as parts of Serbia, Croatia, Albania, and much of Greece. Samuil's stronghold was firmly rooted in Macedonia's heartland, a region defined by the Vardar River, Ohrid, and Mount Shar. This area provided him with unwavering support, particularly due to the influence of the Bogomil movement. The Bogomils, who opposed foreign rule, created favorable conditions for rebellion and the establishment of an independent state. Although Samuil himself was not a bogomil, he tolerated their presence and allowed their movement to flourish within his kingdom. Unlike neighboring rulers, Samuil implemented unique policies. He frequently shifted his administrative centers among several cities in Macedonia, including Prespa, Ohrid, Prilep, Bitola, and few others. This strategy reflected both the decentralized nature of his state and the strategic importance of these locations. In 986, Samuil faced one of the greatest challenges of his reign when Byzantine Emperor Basil II launched a massive invasion. Basil assembled an army of approximately 25,000 soldiers. His primary objective was to capture the city of Sredets. By the end of the month, the Byzantine forces reached Sredets and constructed a fortified camp, preparing for a siege. However, the siege dragged on for 20 days, leaving the Byzantine army exhausted, hungry, and low on supplies. As morale declined, Basil began to consider retreating to Philippopolis. The situation became even more precarious for the Byzantines when they received news that a relief force, led by Samuil, was approaching. The prospect of an ambush spread panic throughout the Byzantine camp, forcing Basil to order a hasty retreat. On August 16th, the Byzantine army entered a narrow mountain pass, unaware that Samuil had already positioned his forces there. Samuil had strategically placed his 10,000-strong army on the mountain slopes, effectively surrounding the Byzantines on 3 sides. Just before dawn, he launched a surprise attack. Caught off guard, the Byzantine forces quickly fell into chaos. While Basil's elite Armenian guard mounted a fierce resistance, the regular infantry at the rear suffered heavy losses. Further ahead in the valley, the Byzantine cavalry initially held its ground, but eventually succumbed to the pressure of Samuil's forces. Realizing the dire situation, Basil's Armenian infantry carved a path through the chaos, cutting down allies and enemies alike to secure an escape route. Basil himself narrowly escaped to Philippopolis, but the majority of his infantry was massacred. The battle ended in a decisive victory for Samuil. The Byzantine army suffered devastating losses, and Emperor Basil II barely escaped with his life. Despite this crushing defeat, Basil II proved to be a resilient adversary. The Battle of Trajan's Gates was a major setback, but it did not deter his ambitions. In the years that followed, Basil would return to challenge Samuil's empire, marking the beginning of a prolonged and bitter struggle between the two powers.